Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Mark here, and we're going to dive into another Star Wars Unlimited deck tech video. We're going to take a look at the next deck that I'm going to be playing in the Discord League that I've been playing in. Once again, I am assigned, or I chose, a green base. So every one of my decks is probably going to use, let's just face it, Energy Conversion Lab, or at least a green base. And so today I have a new green base deck for you. Last week we did Ray Green. This week, we're going to return to Villainy. So let's, no further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at the deck. Okay, really quickly here, we're going to play Cad Green. Now, I tried a lot of different iterations of Cad Green. This is my 5th version of Cad Green, and I really struggled to get it to work. Now, I want to point out a couple of things about, like, if you're in a situation like this, you have to choose a base color in the future. Just be aware that when you choose green, you are not necessarily forced into playing exclusively ramp. However, normally the reason that you play green is so that you have access to cards like Super Laser Technician, Price on Your Head, Resupply. And so a lot of times the best cards that you're going to get access to by going into green are going to be those ramping cards. And so for me, I really struggled to find a deck that worked in green that's not also ramping. So this is our 3rd deck in this series. We did Bosk Green using bounties and ramping. We did Ray Green, which was more of a heroism mid-range deck that used a little bit of light ramp. But here we are playing Bosk Green. Now, Bosk has a unique ability. Reads, when you play an underworld card, you can exhaust this leader. If you do, an opponent chooses a unit they control and they take 1 damage. Now, this is a really cool ability. I really like it, and I love controlling the board with Bosk. And in my experience, Bosk Yellow does a really great job of doing this. You can constantly pick cards out of your opponent's hand, bounce stuff from the board back to their hand, bounce things to your hand, and then back out to get their effect another time. All the meanwhile, you're just pinging and dealing damage everywhere. I really like Cad for that reason. However, when you combine Cad with green, you immediately run into a new issue. And that is that Cad, even when he's flipped and his ability gets better and he starts dealing 2 damage, he himself just doesn't end up being as effective as you would like him to be. Because a lot of the cards in Villainy and Command Villainy Green simply do not synergize well with Bosk, along with even some of the cunning Villainy cards, things like 7th Fleet Defender, which doesn't have the Underworld keyword. There's also a lot of stuff that has Bounty Hunter, but doesn't have Underworld, which also doesn't run with Bosk. The benefit that you do have is the new Maul card. The new Maul card is incredibly powerful with Bosk because it just synergizes perfectly. Now, I want to remind you that I'm only playing with cards that I have. I'll highlight towards the end of this portion of the video what cards I would put in here if I had more copies of them, or if I had any copies of them at all. So let's start off by taking a look at some of our lower cost cards. We have Greedo, the 1-cost 3/1 that when it dies, you get to flip a card from top of your deck, and if it's not a unit card, you can deal 2 damage to a ground unit. Really like this card, and it's awesome for Bosk because it is Underworld. But then we also have Salacious Crumb. This card has been incredibly powerful for this Cad Bane deck. Because I'm going a ramp strategy, and because my highest ramping cards aren't actually going to synergize with Cad Bane other than my Darth Maul card or my Maul card, I needed ways to interact with the board early on that could ping stuff off. And so really what we're doing is Cad is just there to slow our opponents down, and then we are trying to get more powerful stuff on the board earlier than them. And so Cad's ability is very useful at the beginning of the game, less important and less synergistic at the end of the game with this deck. I tried to play variations that ran Underworld units top to bottom. They just weren't super successful. I always sort of ran out of gas. Whenever I got to the top end, my opponents who were there had more powerful cards they had access to, like Crate Dragon and others, Devastator, things like that. Because I didn't have access to a lot of those cards that were with Underworld, I ended up going with a strategy that tries to remove a lot of my opponent's stuff early in the game. Salacious Crumb does a really great job of that. Not only does it come into play as an underworld unit so it can ping something, it also heals your base, which gives you more longevity, and then you can exhaust him to return him to your hand and ping something directly. So they choose a damage that goes out whenever you play him. The next round you bounce him back, you deal a damage directly, and then you play him again, which you oftentimes can do because you have that one extra resource. You get another ping from CAD because of him, and you're healing your base. I really like him. I'm playing 2 of them. I think you could play 3. Cartel Spacer, a normal card and an underworld one, something that you would expect to be played. No good to be dead. I'm running 2 copies of. Oftentimes this card gets resourced. It's not super valuable, but it is good if you're pushing for damage at the end. 2 copies of Price on your head. It's probably the least reliable form of ramp. Bazine Natal, 2 copies because we are controlling the board at the beginning. It gives us another 2-drop unit. I think the Cloud Rider is probably the best unit early game in this deck. It comes down, deals a ping, and ambushes for 3. You can remove anything on turn 1. And more than things on turn. You can remove a lot of stuff with Cloud Rider on turn 1. Resupply for the ramp Boba Fett because, once again, another underworld unit. It's a 3 resource, 3/5 with an upside. 2 copies of Waylay in case my opponent gets something big down that I can't take care of. 3 super laser tech because we are ramping Black Sun Starfighter. I think this is maybe one of the best powerful cards in this deck. I've really liked this card. It's fantastic with Energy Conversion Lab to get rid of things like A-Wings and other stuff like that. When you have initiative on turn 2. 2 copies of Cunning. I'm willing to pay 2 extra for this. It's just such a powerful card. Overwhelming Barrage because you have to. Traitorous. 1 copy of that just against the upgrade decks. The Bosk. This was not originally in this variation, but I actually really like Bosk. And he's really good in that mid-range just to sort of take care of something. The Pirate Battle Tank. This one is something that I typically am just resourcing and then bouncing out later, but it is something that you can Energy Conversion Lab. It is an underworld unit. It is a 4/6 with Sentinel, slows people down. I like Pirate Battle Tank. I didn't think I was going to, but I actually really like it in this deck. I have 1 Vader and 2 Mauls. I think if I had a 3rd Maul, I would run 3 Mauls, no Vaders. Reinforcement Walker. Just such a really clutch card towards the end of the game. Once again, we're not really worried about Underworld at these really top-end cards. I got the Assault Cruiser here as well. I like this card because it can ramp me, but most importantly, it gets rid of Home 1 without dying, which is one of the bigger units that you're going to face around this time in that space lane. And then I have a copy of Relentless because it does cripple my opponent's ability to deal with my ever-expanding board. I think the other thing that I would put in here would be Devastator. I don't have any copies of Devastator, but I'm probably going to get a couple copies of it because I think that, heavy green ramp decks, which in Villainy, which I'm going to have probably at least 1 more of, I think really need that Devastator to make it work. And so I think that Devastator, it hasn't been necessary for this deck. I've played some variations online on Carablast with it in. It is a nice finisher, but typically between the Assault Cruiser and Relentless, I usually have pretty good finishers either way. It's definitely a tempo-focused deck in the beginning without valuing my opponent by ramping throughout the game. You're almost always wanting to Energy Conversion Lab, that Super Laser Technician, or that Black Sun, depending on what type of situation you're in. Occasionally the Boba Fett, if it's a field lane thing, but very frequently Super Laser Tech. In Mulligan, you always want a Mulligan to look for Resupply, Super Laser Technician, Price on your head. I think that's normal, but also Salacious Crumb and Greedo are really good cards to have in your opening hand, or a Cloud Rider, also a really good card to have in your opening hand. Don't forget, you can also smuggle away the Bazine Natal. I oftentimes forget that, but we do have that and the Pirate Battle Tank that can both be resourced and then dug up later, which I think is really important. Okay, there's the deck. That's what I'm going to be playing this week. Let's go ahead over to Carabast and grab a couple of games with it. I can show you how the deck runs. Okay, guys, I'm going to start off here. We are going to end up against a Hondo Blue deck. This is unique. I almost always want to go second with this deck because I want my opponents to put things out so that I can get CAD's ability off right in the beginning. And I think in this particular case, we're actually going to keep this hand. We have the Cloud Rider to deal with stuff. We have the Boba Fett. We can race out the Super Laser Technician next round. I don't want to risk this. I'm not going to take the mulligan here. We are going to resource the Pirate Battle Tank simply because of its smuggle and probably the Cartel Spacer. Even though that is our only thing for the space lane, I don't expect this green-blue deck to run a ton of space stuff. This looks like it's probably going to be a bit of a control deck. Hondo is, you may exhaust this leader if you do give an experience token to a unit. He has chosen to pass here. If we pass, which we're going to, he keeps initiative. So I don't actually have to take the initiative off of him. And we just go to the next round, which I think is just straight beneficial for me. Okay, we got the 2-3 pike here. We're going to go ahead and just rush out the super laser technician, remove, or just put 2 points of damage into it, just get that resource. And if, depending on what our opponent does here, we can pretty easily get rid of this with Cad's ability next round. If he plays, likely to take initiative here. There he goes, he takes initiative. Let's go ahead and pass. Salacious is very good for us here. We are going to be on 5 resources. I think we could easily take the Bosk here, but my opponent's going to get a chance to choose what he wants to take the damage. I think let's go ahead and resource out the Cloud Rider in this case, and we'll kind of see what our opponent does. Okay, chooses not to attack. Interesting. Oh, 4 experience points on that. That is not a small amount of experience. Well, we don't have the ability to ambush out again here. So I think that the answer is going to be, let's put the Bosk out and let's use Cad's ability. The Lieutenant here is tough. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, we want to resolve the ambush and attack into that. That was interesting that he chose to take the damage on the Childson here. Because if he chooses to attack in, we can just remove it very easily. So now we have 2 options on 7, and we have these 2 1-drops. Let's go ahead and just get rid of that. We are on the ability to get our leader out before him. This is a really interesting choice on his part. I mean, we can just remove it with the Bosk, and this... We can also just do this, use Cad Bane's ability. This still leaves the Overwhelming Barrage as an option for us, which I think is pretty important. We can get Cad out this round as well to be able to remove some stuff. And this is heal 2 damage from a unit, give an experience token to it. He's at 8. This guy is big. Let's go ahead and Overwhelming Barrage him. As much as it hurts, we can just remove that with him, and I think that puts us in a pretty good position here. Okay, we're going to take a look at the top 2 cards of his deck. I mean, he had a lot of stuff all built up on that Childson. For us to be able to remove it with the Bosk very easily is great, and he takes initiative, which puts us in a really good situation here. Okay, so interestingly enough, we have the Vader and the Maul here, both as options, and the Assault Cruiser comes down next turn to be able to wrap up this lane. I think we're actually just going to resource the Black Sun. I do like that card in the early game, but it's just becoming less valuable as time goes on. A lot will depend here on what our opponent does. If he doesn't do anything, okay, we're going to Timely Intervention, and he's going to pull something out. When you play a card using Smuggle, you may exhaust this leader if you give an experience token to a unit, okay? He is going to smuggle out his Lieutenant Childson, going to reveal some stuff. He's also ambushing with it, which is important. Got the 4 on there, and then going to get the ambush attack in as well. You know, I think this might be the perfect opportunity to play our Vader. He only has 2 life left on this. So if we Vader here, let's make sure that we draw something out first. So I think in this case, we pull out the Cartel Spacer. Yep, we want to use Cad Bane's ability here. You can take the 2 damage here or the 2 damage here. He's going to choose to take it there. We're going to go ahead and ambush. We'll just remove the Childson from the board. And now if he attacks into our Starfighter, we can just remove... We've removed everything on his board. Okay. He's going to come down with the 3/7 with Raid 1 here. I think that we're just going to attack into him here. He can't actually remove my Cad yet, which is important. And next turn we can Maul. That's an interesting choice. Let's go ahead and bounce him, and we'll just take the damage there. See if he's going to attack in. Nope, just going to claim initiative. Doesn't want to just attack into this. At this point, we've ramped enough, so we feel fine playing Price on Your Head. I think just down to the resource row. We do have to get rid of this. He still is able to smuggle stuff to give experience tokens. We have to remember, too, we do have the pirate battle tank in. I feel like we have pretty good control over this game, but we are going to have to start pressuring here relatively soon. We'd love to see him stack some experience on things, too, to be perfectly honest with you, because if he stacks some more experience on this Inferno, we're just going to take it with Traitorous and take control of it. Now that we have Traitorous in hand, we can Traitorous and Boba Fett this turn. Both really powerful moves. So, totally okay with that. Okay, he's going to take the chance to just get the attack in here. You know, if that's the case, I'm just going to take the 5 damage in with my Vader. And probably going to take the chance to get damage in with my CAD. Because it's very likely that I'm going to hit this with a Maul this turn. Resolving an ability, Power of the Dark Side. We're actually going to let him Power of the Dark Side, specifically away my Vader in this case. Deal some damage there. Only sitting on 4 resources right now. Once again, we're really not in a bad position here. We can Traitorous. Okay, he's going to top target. He's going to put a bounty on a unit. You know, this uniquely allows us to Traitorous this and pressure him here. Oh, I think he undid their last action. Okay, he's going to bounce back. Didn't like just playing that top target there. Wants to play something maybe a little bit more. Oh, okay, he's going to put top target here, which is going to let me just Traitorous this Inferno 4 away, which seems good for us. Now, if he has something else that he can put down, that could be bad. Oh, he is just going to make an opening, giving the -2/-2, which also heals him. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. But this is going to allow me to play out our Boba Fett, use his ability, and go ahead and remove his Hondu. He takes initiative, and now we control the board almost entirely. This is one of the hard parts of the deck, because you can just draw into your ramp at the end of the game. We just don't want it. Here we can play the Assault Cruiser and the Crumb here. Choose a card to add to the top or bottom. Oh, okay, he did remove this. We'll put this on the top and that on the bottom. The -2/-2 is a real thing here. We won't even be able to remove with this, but I think that we don't have a choice. Do you want to resolve an ambush? Yes. Okay, we will be able to remove it. So, do we want his 6 damage going to something here? I think we do. We'll take the 6 on the Boba Fett, mostly because it's just going to heal us. And then we'll take the 4 damage to his base. We're pretty close here. I don't think we need to play this. We're going to go ahead and pass. Got the Cunning on top. That's a huge grab. That's actually the first time I've ever come up against a Snoke. We're going to get a resource away, our ramp once again. And I don't know that we've won this game, but it seems like it's pretty well in the bag. Interesting. So, this would be 6. I'm going to play Salacious and just get him down. And we'll kind of see what my opponent wants to do here. Because I can bounce and also improve my attack on him. We maybe should have just taken the 7. Okay, on attack. Give a shield token to a unit. He smuggles this out. Okay, yep, totally fine here. We are going to return a unit and buff a unit. Return this unit to my hand. Buff this unit. And that's GG, my friend. And that's GG. He claims initiative, and we just wrap that game up. There's game 1, guys. Felt pretty good there. We'll go ahead and jump into a game 2 and see if we can't showcase this against maybe something a little bit more meta, and we'll see what comes up. Hope you enjoyed that game. Okay, guys, we're going to be up against a Han Solo 2.0 blue deck here. This is a really strong deck that we're going up against. This is actually... this Han blue deck is the deck that I lost to with Ray Green last week. So we are waiting for our opponent to finish getting set up here. But we are going second. We are going to go second. And so, I mean, we have the 2/1 drops. We do have a piece of ramp in hand. I don't think we want the mulligan here. I think we're going to resource away the Cunning and then maybe one of our other 1 drops. I I think maybe the Cunning and maybe the Greedo here. I really like Salacious Crumb. So, but the Greedo is probably a stronger turn 1 between the two of them. So we're going to do this. This has Grit. Let's actually just put the price on your head on it. Because we can actually Energy Conversion Labs out the Greedo next turn. This is kind of tough. The Vader and the Maul in hand. We're going to hope for some like mid-rangey-esque plays coming up. We got the Red Squadron A-Wing. Let's go ahead. We can use Cad's ability. It's not really going to matter here because he's just going to take it on that guy. And no, we do not want to use Greedo's ability. We are going to be on 5 resources. We are ramping ahead of him. That's great for us. But once again, we're sitting here with Maul and Vader in hand. Not really in a great situation when it comes to that. He's going to race out the second A-Wing here, which is going to let us claim initiative. Going to Security Complex on it as well. Interesting. We do get the Bosk here, which I think is important. Let's resource Bazine this turn. And then next round, so I would imagine that we're just going to use Cad Bane's ability here. He's probably going to take that on. Oh, interesting. He's going to take it there. We don't have anybody to ambush. We're just basically playing the Bosk out here. And really what we're playing it out for is the Overwhelming Barrage next turn. For the 6 damage from Overwhelming Barrage. And then the extra 2 from his ability. Which is going to be really necessary considering my opponent drew 3 Green Squadron A-Wings. Also, a Force Throw only hits important stuff. We will give him, luckily he can't deal damage with it, so we're just going to give him the Maul out of my hand, because he can't actually deal damage with Force Throw here. We're going to resource away our other Cunning. Our opponent very clearly committed to this board over here. Now, I don't know what order these are in, but we're going to want to damage all of them. Okay, the first one, we're going to deal try 2. Okay, we're going to undo that. Okay, we have an idea now of how this is going to work. We want to damage all 3 of them. The first one, we would like to deal 3 damage to. The second one, we'd like to deal 1 damage to. The third one, we'd like to deal that to. And then we'd like to clean them up with the 2 damage from the Bosk. There we go. Perfectly cleaning up all 3 Green Squadron A-Wings and allowing us to just trash into him. He's gone now. Okay, we're going to get this out. We can't use Cad Bane's ability, unfortunately, but we can get Cad out. I'm guessing he's playing here just pretty aggressive and exactly what I expected. Just playing really aggressive. He's going to go ahead and claim initiative. We're totally fine with that. The Super Laser Technicians, absolute garbage for us. So we're going to head and that. If I had to guess, oh, he's going to Rivals Fall. That's actually fine with us. We will pull out the Black Sun Starfighter, and yep, we want to use the ambush. Very nice. Claimed initiative. We'll pass here. The resupply and the Super Laser Tech in hand. Neither one of these particularly good for us. We really need to begin seeing something that's a little bit higher value. We're definitely going to use Cad Bane's ability here, and we're going to ambush, and we can just remove that very quickly and easily. We're going to play out everything this round, so let's just go ahead and remove this. We just want to keep all of his stuff off the board. There we go. Play both of these and attack in for 3. Now, the reality is this deck very likely this turn can also play a worm. And so we do have the stuff to deal with the worm in hand. We're actually going to pass just because we have the Waylay. So if he wants to play the Crate Dragon here, oh, okay, we're going to play that. I mean, we can easily bounce this, or we could remove it. I think that the better choice is probably going to be to remove it. Let's just see what other cards our opponent has. Chooses to play nothing else, just takes the initiative. Interesting. We're going to go ahead and remove this. We do not want to discard a card with Greedo. We'll deal the damage here, deal the damage here, and then let's get the ambushing ship out. No, we're not going to ambush anything, but it's a capital ship, so we have that 7 attack sitting there. I think we're in a pretty good spot. Go ahead and pass. This can just lock somebody down. We have another assault cruiser in hand, which is pretty good for us. Once again, we're a little bit worried about Crate Dragon coming down, So he is going to resource here, which gives me a feeling that there might be a Crate Dragon. I have answers to Crate Dragon in both Waylay and No Good For Me Dead. I'm going to resource Waylay here and see what my opponent does. The K2SO coming down, okay? Let's just take the 5 damage to base. We're actually probably just going to No Good For Me Dead this. Our opponent's going to claim initiative. That is game. There it is, my friends. Another game won. That one against a more meta deck, Blue Han. Hope you enjoyed this deck. I've had a lot of fun playing it. Let me know in the comments what you think. Obviously, there could be some upgrades and things that we might need for it. But I've been enjoying Cad Green. I'll have to let you know how it goes next week after I get done playing the game, because my Ray green deck did great. It won 1 game, lost 2, so it didn't win, but they were really close games, and it was really fun. Hope you guys are enjoying this series. I've been really enjoying shooting it. Let me know if there's any green-based decks that you'd like me to try out or check in with. And hey, have a great day. I'll see you in the next video.